Former Congressman and Navy Admiral Joe Sestak.
Admiral Joe Sestak.
Joe Sestak.
Joe Sestak.
Joe Sestak.
Joe Sestak.
Sestak, a Democrat, brought his national security message to Lancaster County today.
Was in Erie today.
To Allentown.
He stopped at the Main Bean Cafe in Luzerne today.
Former Congressman and Navy Admiral Joe Sestak is again taking on Senator Pat Toomey for the U.S. Senate. Sestak, a Democrat, brought his national security message to Lancaster County today. He is a retired three-star Navy admiral and says his experience in the military and as an advisor to President Clinton gives him a unique perspective on keeping America safe.
I'm talking about national security overseas. I'm a big believer that national security begins at home in our health and education security. For 31 years in the military, and I'm struck by how few in the United States Senate of either party actually understands how to cautiously use our military.
Joe Sestak brought his foreign policy tour to Allentown today. The former congressman, who is currently running for Senate, stopped at Muhlenberg College this afternoon to discuss his plan for securing America in the 21st century, as he calls it. He says Americans are being affected significantly by events overseas. Sestak says national security begins at home in our economics, healthcare, and education.
Here in Pennsylvania are also weighing in on the plan, including Admiral Joe Sestak. He stopped at the Main Bean Cafe in Luzerne today to talk about the global war on terror. Sestak, who has decades of military experience, says he has wanted Gitmo shut down for years. He also tells us that he served our country so that justice is served against the terror suspects that are currently locked up at Guantanamo, including the mastermind of the September 11th attacks.
And we're also concerned military guys, because we don't want our own soldiers someday to be just thrown away into some purgatory outside the reach of a law. We can defend ourselves easily through our court system in a supermax prison. Let's just do it.
Now, while Gitmo remains on the minds of many, Joe Sestak, who is running for U.S. Senate, was in town today, and he was talking about his plan for securing America at Main Bean Cafe in Luzerne. About a dozen people listened to the former admiral speak this evening about the global war on terror and his thoughts on closing Guantanamo Bay.
Look, I have always wanted to close Guantanamo Bay. I was on the ground at the beginning of the war in Afghanistan when I headed the Navy's anti-terrorism unit. I saw some of these prisoners being brought in.
The man who hopes to unseat Republican Pat Toomey in the U.S. Senate was in Erie today.
Joe Sestak unveiling his plan for securing America in the 21st century. David Belmondo has a report.
Former Admiral and Congressman Joe Sestak made Erie one of his stops as he crisscrossed the state talking to constituents about his plan for securing America in the 21st century. It's a foreign policy document that charts a course for American national security in the modern day.
We need a better strategic approach to the challenges of the world, from China to Iran to ISIS.
He said that means diplomacy matters. He said the U.S. has to work with other nations and coalitions so we don't have to own all the aftermath of a war. Sestak says another part of his plan is the economy, saying the economy matters.
Look, right here, GE and the Export-Import Bank. How could we have a senator like Toomey not want to support the Export-Import Bank when it helps us jobs here?
The Toomey campaign responded to that by saying, quote, liberal Joe Sestak is talking about bailing out multinational corporations with middle-class taxpayer dollars. It's the exact kind of government Pat Toomey was elected to oppose. Sestak then went on to say we need a strong military.
Build our military no longer on how many, but posture, capability, cyberspace, viruses that can take down centrifuges of nuclear capability in Iran.
Sestak agreed with President Obama's plan to close Guantanamo, saying he thinks the terrorists could be put in a maximum security prison in the U.S. David Belmondo, Jet 24, Action.